watering jug for my plants. How are things? How is everyone? Where are you tuning in from? Thank you for the thumbs up. You know I love that. All right. It is such a gorgeous day, as usual. And I usually start my mornings off by coming out here and taking the light into my eyes, onto my skin. The sun is like right there, and there was some like beautiful flowers on the trees. And usually I can get a little bit of quiet in before the neighbors get going. So we'll see what today looks like. They were up till 2 a.m. last night, hooting and hollering. So there's a lot of joy of celebration here. And that was something that, I kind of had to learn in my life. When you come from survival mode, it can often be the case that you don't celebrate. You don't celebrate holidays. You don't celebrate your birthday. You don't celebrate wins. So, yeah, Mexico is the country of celebration. And that's one thing I've been doing here. Or hiding from, depending on how you look at it. I had wanted to start filming earlier. I'm not sure what time it is, like maybe around 10 now. So it's going to start getting hot. Hold on. It actually is hot already. What a gift and a blessing. So yeah. This is the reality of living in Mexico. Heat, dogs barking. Doesn't matter if you live in one of the nicest neighborhoods in town. In fact, it's worse here with the dogs. But I spent many, many years, living in a cold country, working jobs I hated, and wishing that one day I could be doing this. I could be in a hot, beautiful country and enjoying the sun every single day. Eating some fruits off the trees. Writing some books. Just relaxing. Isn't that what life should be? For a certain part of our lives, anyway. And I was thinking about how I created the life that I wanted many times over. And now, I thought this was going to be the last stop for me. I always think I've reached the last stop. I've created this life where it seems like I'm this like adventurer and I'm always like trying new things and starting over and everything. But that's like not really what I wanted. I wanted to find the one thing and the one person and the one place and just stay there. So that's kind of what I am craving. However, I really have to figure all of that out. And I'd hoped Mexico would be the place, but I don't know. I don't think it is, but I'm going to try some other places here. Give some other places a try before I leave for good. And we'll see. Because this sun is such a luxury. It is such a luxury. I was thinking about this today, like, when you wake up with this beautiful sun on your skin, in your eyes, warming your body, I just think there is no greater luxury than this. Like, I don't care. And, man, it can be so hard to, like, drum up the energy to get from where you are to where you're going or where you want to be. I remember just being stuck in some bad job situations, man, where I was like so poor. I was living like paycheck to paycheck. I was like, oh, thank you so much. I'm glad you all like my natural hair. Um, I was living paycheck to paycheck. I had like no extra money for nothing. And I remember there was this like job that I really wanted. It was like with the city. So it was like a municipal job, which comes with awesome benefits and higher pay and stuff like that. And just thinking like, I have nothing left to give, but I need this job so I can get myself to the next level and the next level from that. And I remember going home and like looking in my closet and like I had been so poor that I had like no appropriate clothes. So I went to Walmart. I went to the discount rack and they had one pair of pants that was discounted to exactly how much I had, which was like $15 or something. And it was so depressing to try it on and find that it fit because, you know, I had gained a lot of weight from stress and everything else. But look what I did, man. I got those pants on. I'm like, these pants make me look half put together. All right. You know, I can do this. I got that job. And then I was getting like $400 therapy sessions for free. You know, the therapy I had before that, I had gone with, you know, my boyfriend and his family for a few years. After that, when I was making money on the internet, you know, I was paying, you know, because I had extra money. But there were like so many ways that I saw in the world to get the things I needed to go where I was heading, even when it was like really difficult. And I always ended up with what I wanted. So I guess, and for me, it was always like some kind of a story, some kind of a beautiful story or like adventure, or I was like, it was a character that I became in a story. Yeah, man. And so I know what it feels like to feel like trapped or to have a job or a career that pays a lot of money, but you're just like trapped. You cannot live your life. You can't go where you want. You can't do the things you want. You're tied down. And you're just like wondering, is there more to life than this? I've also been there before. I'm like, I don't want to do this. I would rather be poor and have a lot of free time. And it's like, well, there's another way because your girl does not like not having money. So I'm like, I need to have a lot of money and a lot of free time and freedom. And I don't want to have a boss. I have had the most comically terrible bosses that when I look back on them, I'm like, this was God making a joke at my expense, trying to show me how badly I need to become an entrepreneur. Because if I don't, I'm going to end up with people like this in my life. It was just plain comical. I had one boss who I was like selling these high ticket items. And he's like, you know, Adelle, you're so good at selling. We're going to get you selling video cameras because people are going to start using them for digital IDs around the world soon. And there's going to be a huge market for that. We're going to cash in on it. And I was like sitting there like, oh my God, this has got to be God playing a joke on me right now. And like, yeah, like for absolutely insane people, I don't argue with them ever. So there's no way I'd be like, wow, do you think that's unethical or like whatever? I'm just like, that's literally what I do. I go, how interesting. That's all. That's all they're getting from me. That's one thing I learned in life, man. Do not argue with crazy people. By the way, I feel like a Wild West harlot with this fan, but I could not find a plain one. I'm like, where can I get a plain fan that does not have a leopard print? Oh, that is really nice. Oh, such a perfect day. Just to feel that sun on your skin. Oh my God. Such a luxury. I used to walk to the dermatologist's office and use the UV booth in Calgary 3 times a week. I was like, this is great for winter. So I'm getting my steps in, I'm getting my exercise, and I'm getting the UV light on my skin and the heat. And actually, being in a UV light sauna or a red light sauna is like very unpleasant, to be honest. It's extremely hot. Sends these waves in and it heats you from the inside out, and it's nice, but it was always very challenging for me. I especially love the sun here. The sun can be a challenge for me, but when I've had enough, I could just come inside. And I know not to run errands during the day anymore. Although, because I don't like waking up early, sometimes I still get caught doing that. So I want to let you know. I think a lot of people watch people with lives like mine, and they think like, I don't know, like it's like a pipe dream. They think like, okay, next week or next year or in 3 years or whatever. And time goes by. And that was one thing I can give myself credit for, is that I am someone who, I said I was going to do something or I wanted something and I just immediately took action. I did not sit around. Well, that's not true. When it comes to writing my books, I was really bad at procrastinating on that in the past. I've gotten over that. But I didn't sit around and wait. I knew what I wanted. I would look for other people who had what I wanted. I would reverse engineer what they did, right? Like, for example, if you go and look at my links here, what can you see? Oh, there's an e-junkie store. That's how Adelle sells her ebooks. How do I upload to eJunkie? How do I connect it to my PayPal and get paid instantly into my bank account for doing literally nothing all day long? I say literally nothing. But, YouTube and social media are great jobs for people who can talk, okay? If you are an extrovert, or even if you're not extroverted but you're beautiful, even if you're not beautiful but you're interesting or unique looking or really intelligent or really passionate, you need to be on camera. Myself, I am none of those things. I'm just kidding. Okay. Here's the thing. I come on here to push myself to talk. Okay? Because I love when I meet a person who, like, the conversation is just really fun and things flow and we have a good time, and I love making jokes and I love talking to strangers, and I love asking questions. I love getting to know people, and I don't mean like a lot of people. I mean like, the interesting people that pop up, right? And even just like interactions with like my neighbors and stuff here. I don't know. I'm really curious about the nature of this world, and finding out the people, what's going on in their minds, the people who populate it, can be a really great way to kind of see what the heck's going on. Even if you're talking to an NPC, which is usually the case. Like in the video game, you have like the little characters who like say the same ridiculous stuff over and over again. They're just programmed. That every once in a while you meet like a pivotal character, and you just kind of know by kind of talking to them. Usually in the video game, they look a little bit different than the normal NPC characters. So you might have a clue or a hint. But yeah, it's my God, that sun. I like to tan the palms of my hands, the soles of my feet, my chest, my back. I have like really weird tan lines. Of course, I don't like the sun to get on my face, but in the morning, I will get like 20 minutes of sun in my eyes without glasses or sunglasses, because I saw that you need to get sun on your retina. Hey, good morning. Thanks for joining. How are you doing? Where are you tuning in from? I love to get that light in on my retinas. And I know it sounds absolutely insane. Like, I don't think you should stare directly at the sun. Usually I look off, I open my eyes and I'll look off, you know, but the sun is shining directly into my eyes. And I know it sounds crazy because, like, I have a really strong prescription, but while I'm out here in the sun in the morning, hello from North Carolina. Wow, no way. How are things where you are? Were you in the hurricane zone? Are you happy with your life? Let me know. What was I talking about? Yeah, I feel like the sun is making my vision better. That I'll be out here, and it's just because things are so beautiful and so vibrant and so green and so colorful, and the birds are singing, which you can hear, and the flowers are blooming. And the sky is blue, and the clouds are big and white and puffy. And at night they are pink and purple. And there's no contrails. Edmonton. Aw, I can't see the name. Well, hey, it looks like Sherry. You're in Edmonton, my hometown. Well, now you're going to make me emotional. I know, I don't know. I still kind of miss Edmonton from time to time. People are like, there's nothing going on there. And I'm like, yeah, that's why I like it. That's the kind of person I am. They'd be like, we're going to go to the Fringe in Edmonton. I'm like, oh, God. We're going to go to K-Days. We're going to go to the Kerry West Parade. And I'm like, I don't like any of those things. I like to explore the vistas of the mind. I like to explore history, psychology, spirituality. I want to figure out how to beat the demiurge so I don't get reincarnated. I don't like going to K-Days. I like going to Vegas to hang out at the Red Rocks and, go to the Whole Foods in Henderson and, hang out with the voice actors and go to their studios and stuff like that. They're a cool group out there. I wouldn't be caught dead in Cirque du Soleil. I wouldn't be caught dead, in any of those kind of things. That just bore me to death. You know what I mean? What's K-Days? Okay, you're not a real Edmontonian if you don't know about K-Days. Come on. It's like this Klondike days. It's like this. See, I can't even explain it that well because, like, I'm literally thinking if I even went once. I don't think I actually even went once. I think I went there and we're looking at it and waiting in line. I'm like, I do not want to do this. And left. Kind of like how I walked out of the Hobbit movie when I realized how much CGI was involved and that they had altered the plot to include some SJW talking points. I was like, I'm leaving. And my boyfriend at the time was like, oh, ha, ha, ha. And then I'm getting up. He's like, you're serious? I'm like, yes. He wanted to finish watching it, so I just went and waited in the car. But I'm looking back on my life, and I've really followed, I wouldn't call it passion, but interest that told me something was there for me. And it, of course, I think came from the things that I was raised with. I was raised as a farm kid during the summers. I lived in the city, but, in the summertime, summer break, we would go to our friend's family farm and live out there. And so that was the life I lived. And when I wasn't doing that, I was also in summer camp. Why does it look like the phone is moving? Okay. I would be in summer camp every summer as well. So I'd be out there learning, archery, going whitewater rafting, learning how to pitch a tent, learning how to start a fire, all of these things. So, and also reading and writing. And, I used to put on workshops in my house, in my backyard as a kid. I was entrepreneurial as a kid. Thank you. Too bad you weren't there. Yeah, and I just, I can't explain why I did these things, where I got the ideas from. I think I probably got them from books. I read a lot of books. I read about like the Babysitters Club, how they would like had this group of girls who would like babysit kids and like make money and everything else. And there was like the head babysitter, and I'm like, that's me. I'm like, I'll do this. And I remember being like, I don't actually want to babysit. I'll just set it up. I'll get my friends who actually want to babysit to do it, and I'll take a cut. Look at me. This is the stuff I was thinking when I was a kid. And then I was like, yeah, I can shovel snow. I literally remember just looking out and seeing like people were not shoveling their snow right away. And I know this sounds crazy, but like it was fun to me. When you were a kid and like doing things was like fun. You're like, oh, can I cut the grass? I'm still kind of like that. When I lived in Montana, I used to cut the grass, a little drive along. I don't know what they're called, a lawnmower that you can drive. I'm like, yeah, I'm cutting the grass. But I'd be like, yeah, I like shoveling snow. And to be honest, I was like pretty skinny and weak. So it was a difficult job. It took me a long time. So I'd be like, if you give, and I was like thinking in my mind, like, what's something easy that they would have on hand? A lot of people had cash on hand. I'm like, okay, you give me a $20 bill, I will shovel your snow. And I'm trying to think if it was like a deal. Because in my mind, I'm like, was it? I will keep your walk clean for the month. I don't think I would have done that. But I have a weird feeling. I feel like I offered a package deal where it's like, or you can pay 30 or 40 and I'll do it for the month, or if it snows more or something. I can't remember. And like, I thought of all this stuff without the internet. If I had the internet back then, I don't know. It would have been crazy for me. But now that I have the internet, I I spend a lot of time researching um, passive income, trading, day trading, and futures trading. Um, like it, any way that people are making money easily online, I'm researching it. I've done it. I've been successful in it. I currently am successful in it, or I'm like looking into it. Like I'm in all of it. Um, just because I realized that, you know, if you want to work hard for money, you're going to be tired. You're not going to have enough unless, like, I don't know. I have a lot of expenses from like my childhood. Like, I need therapy, I need massages, I need help, and that costs money. I also like, a lot of beauty products, beauty treatments. I like, gym, having a personal trainer. I like good food. Um, I don't know. That's pretty much like yeah, and like investing, and I don't know. Those are like the things that I spend my money on. Like I can be like I am a pretty frugal person in general. Like I don't like to have a lot of stuff. I do not like to spend on travel. I will, play the YouTube card when I travel occasionally, and I get freebies all the time. I don't know why. And this is the thing that I have had an issue with for the past 12 years that I've been online, is that I don't post about these things. I don't post about freebies. I don't post client testimonials. I have done, workshops, and I would like try to film, and the film didn't like look that good or sound that good. So I'd be like, oh, just leave it. So like I've done a lot of stuff that people just like don't know about, because I was busy doing those things and not like able to take the video and photos. And at my retreat here in Mexico, I tried hiring somebody to do that, and that fell through. So like this is something that I kind of need to figure out in my life. Yeah. And where I'm living now is a small city. I've tried to contact numerous people to hire them to do photography, videography, or like help me, or like studio space, whatever. And I message them in native Spanish, so they don't know. And it's like from a phone number, so it's not like they're, being weird about me being a foreigner or anything, but they literally do not reply. And that's just like how things are here. It happens a lot. You're like, I really want to give you money, and people are just like, eh. So it's kind of, my friend Christian is in India right now, and he's like, what is wrong with these people? Like, I'm telling them, like, hey, can you fix this? I'll pay you. And they're just like, they don't do it, or they do a rotten job, or like whatever. It's kind of this attitude of hot countries, of kind of, taking it easy kind of countries, low pay kind of countries. Some of them they're not even motivated by a high pay. It's just a mindset, a lifestyle, a consciousness. And that's part of the reason why I kind of feel like I want to get out of here, because I don't want that to affect me too much. I know that the mindset, the values, the emotional energy that surrounds you can have a big effect on you as a person. If I had stayed in my family, or even in contact with my family, with the who do you think you are attitude, and oh, she thinks she's better than us attitude, and oh, like, no, you can't do that and attitude, where would I have gotten in life? I would have been just like them. And if you allow people like that in your life, you get stuck. You get stuck in the mud. You get stuck in life. And who wins? Nobody. But the crabs in the bucket, they keep all the other crabs from climbing out. If they helped each other, they could all get out. But no, they would rather put that energy into tearing the other crabs down to make sure they don't get out. And it's human nature. Once you research it and you study and you figure it out, you're like, oh, okay, there are certain matrices of the mind that people need to recognize in themselves and others to break through in order to make real change in their life. Because if they don't do that, they have this like gremlin that pops up. And it's this gremlin that affects all humans throughout all history. We could relate it to different parts of the brain, but basically it signals danger when you're too different. In the past, that meant that they would leave you on the outskirts of town. If you were different, it was dangerous. We call that also the tall poppy syndrome. All the poppies should be around the same height. The one that sticks out is going to get cut down to make it the same height. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't mind being a poppy that was just like all the other poppies. If we had our cute little environment and our little culture together, and we all kind of looked the same and we're doing the same thing and living these values as a human tribe, I wouldn't mind that actually. But if you are trying to level yourself to the people of 2024 who are trapped in their minds, they live in fear, they're easily controlled by propaganda, they're easily controlled by the media, they're addicted to their phones, they're addicted to stimulation, they cannot sit for a moment, and they just go with what they've been shown and what they've been told without thinking about it for all areas of their life. That's the kind of life you're going to have. And I don't recommend it. I really don't. In life, you have to choose your hard. It can be hard to be on the outskirts. It can be hard to be somebody who is making their own way in life. It can be hard to be the first person in your family history to actually be living a life that you want. I'm probably the first person in the history of like my bloodline who like did not have children, let alone who did not have children at a teenage stage of life. I'm probably the only woman in my bloodline that I know of. I have a cousin who I met who is like really awesome, she she reached out to me when she found me on YouTube or whatever, and she's like, "Hey girl, I got divorced too, but my next husband was like my soulmate. We've been together forever, blah blah blah. Like I was just like you. I got married quick right away and I realized he was a bad dude. But the next one I got, like we have been together since and he takes such good care of me and blah blah blah." And I got to know him too. And I'm like, "Oh my god, these are awesome people." And she's like, "I did not have any children either. Ha ha ha." And she's like, "I just have a good life. We just travel around and I do my exercises and whatever." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh." So yeah. But yeah. So I hope this inspires someone to think. I hope this inspires someone to, like, wonder a bit about their life. Maybe go for something that seems impossible. I got this idea to get involved. Like the ideas that I get, they come in bits and pieces with like other people's story that interest me. Like when I was in my late 20s, I was working office jobs and everything else, and I absolutely hated it. I hated living in the city. I hated going to the office. And then I met this guy who was like, "Yeah, well, actually, I dated this guy. He's like, I'm a wildfire fighter." And I was like, "Excuse me, what?" I didn't even know that that existed because I didn't watch the news or anything like that. It's like where you would find out about wildfire fighters, I guess. And, hmm. Okay, I can get to that in just a second. But I was looking into it and I was like, I do not want to do that. That is much too much work for me. Thank you very much. And I saw your question about subconscious mind reprogramming. A really quick, easy way to start changing your subconscious mind is to start putting evidence all around you that what you want is possible. So, following on social media people who have or who are doing what you want and looking at it every day. This is telling your subconscious mind that this is normal, this is natural, this is possible. And then start looking for little things in your day to day life that prove that you already have, the elements of that in your life. Or the elements needed to bring that into your life. Like, it's just so mystical and weird how stuff like that can change. And even if you're looking for proof that, I don't know, say you want like a relationship, that's what I would like. So start looking for ways that you are loving, or that you have these caring and sweet relationships with people. Even if you're living in a country and you're mostly isolated by yourself, like I have some kind of, meaningful interaction every day, whether it's like on the street or with my clients or with my cat or with myself. Like I've become so self-supportive. And so, like, I'm just so impressed. I'm so impressed with my relationship with myself for the first time in my life. And that's probably why I had, I wouldn't say I had like super bad relationships in the past. Like I didn't actually. But so anyway, and so I started looking into this forestry and I was like, "Oh, I could do this instead." And it turns out that, I did get wildfire fighting training. I did earn my certificate. I did pass the physical, most of the physical. There's no way I could do upright rows, okay? Your girl got the skinny arms, okay? There's no way. I can't even, yeah, anyway. But one day I went from this little idea in my mind going, "What's a wildfire fighter? That sounds cool," to being like, Yep, I'm living on the base. I take a helicopter every day. I'm getting paid to live in a cabin. I got a truck and a credit card with the government's name on it. And I just got the free summer. I got to turn in some paperwork every week. And that's it. That was my job. I'm like, this is a dream ass job. But as we all know, with jobs come annoying bosses, co-workers. If you're a beautiful woman, you are going to be subject to jealous people. You're going to be subject to creepy dudes who know that it's part of your job to talk to them, and they're going to take advantage of that. I do not recommend jobs for attractive women. Yes, jobs are for men, okay? And I don't know, women who want to be independent and all that. Okay? And y'all can go ahead and quote me on that. Y'all gonna get mad. Oh, you're welcome. I hope it helps. Like, that's what I did. And that's kind of what I still do. Someone's like, I agree. It's the truth. I'm so dead serious. How many of you have worked with like in my mind, I can immediately think of two super gorgeous women that I worked with and the nonsense they had to deal with. Like me, I'm attractive. I would consider myself above attractive, sure. But I'm like kind of awkward, a little bit weird, a little bit tomboy. Um Personally, I like myself that way, but I'm always working on ways I can improve. But like, I'm talking girls who look like they could have just, I don't know, worked for Victoria's Secret or something. One of them, I was working with her at Shoppers Drug Mart, and oh my gosh, the nonsense this girl had to deal with on the daily, like, and then it's like these men come and they're going to flirt with her at the cash register. And like, it's your job to have customer service. So you have to like, talk and be nice and whatever. And then it's like, what is dating like in Mexico? Abysmal. Go find, I have a video about it. But I'm not really interested in dating. I'm not really a dating kind of person. I'm not. And I was like looking back on my whole life, like how I met, these long-term relationships. Men are meant to provide for women. These long-term relationships that I had, I didn't get them by dating. I got them by like doing things and meeting men who would like pursue me intensely, accepting being told no multiple times, and then doing favors for me, giving me stuff, etc., 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 hanging out with me, spending time with me, improving themselves, etc., until one day they were like, we're in a relationship now. And I'd be like, okay. So that was how my relationships all started, essentially. And so, yeah, these like dating and is it going to be a coffee date? Is he going to pay for the dinner? Like, girl, I am not sitting there like a contestant on a game show waiting to see if this man is going to pay for my dinner. Absolutely not. Have I tried dating older men? People keep asking me that. I don't know. Let me take a minute to answer that. I think I acted weird last time someone asked me that too. Like, when I came here, I almost got into a relationship with a man who was in his early 50s. Like, he was like so attractive on so many levels. And when I was in Calgary, I was, talking to and hanging out with a guy in his 50s as well. Very attractive on so many levels as well. So I'm kind of interested in that, to be honest. But yeah, both of them, their crazy came out real quick. And I don't understand you ladies who are stuck in these relationships like, oh, I can't leave, and one day he's going to change, blah, 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 or whatever. I'm just like, oh, and then I'm out. I'm gone. I'm like, no, 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 no. If a man is making me confused and giving me trouble and making my life more difficult, well, I can have a difficult life on my own. Do you know what I mean? And strangely enough, both of those men were Leos, now that I think about it. I really like Leo male vibe. And I like Leo women too. Although they can be a bit too competitive for me. I feel like they get jealous really quickly of me, which is weird because like I really admire Leos. Anyway, I like that Leo vibe, but those guys have a temper, so I am not the one for you because I am not going to give you a fight. You want to yell in my face, I'll be like, see ya, and calmly leave. That's it. End of story. Hit the block button. I'm just totally chill. Capricorn men are the hardworking ones. Yeah, my friend is an astrologer and told me that I need to only go with, yeah, a healthy Taurus. Exactly. They're telling me I need to go with Earth sign men, and I agree. I agree because like the most attractive thing to me is like a man who's responsible. That's literally it. If he's like responsible and keeps his word and he's like dependable and everything like that, I don't know. I kind of, there's so many things that that can make up for. So yeah. Oh, it looks like my ex's dad is in the chat. You're going to get your IP blocked. And I'm going to give you a stalking citation through YouTube. I'm just joking. Possibly. We'll see. But, yeah, I'm like, oh, I did meet a Taurus man here who I liked like a lot. We'd had like really nice chemistry. But it was like not that kind of situation. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Yeah. Yeah. I am. I don't. I. It's getting super hot. Let me fan myself. Yeah, I need to get my natal chart and everything looked at again. Like I'm kind of curious about things. That huge transition. That has been going for like Libra and like Capricorn and everything else. The cardinal signs, because I am so cardinal. There's like this big thing. They're like, your huge karmic energy is ended and something is changing. Like your whole life is going to change or something. It's like the past 15 years. I'm like, yes, like I needed that so badly. I swear to God, the demons were out in full force this past like month before that happened. They're like, okay, like her planets are shifting. We have to like hit her really hard with like a number of things that remind her of like miserable people and situations from her past before our chance is over. And so I just like found myself on all these like ridiculous situations that were like things I'd been in before, but they were like much worse. And I handled it quick and I handled it good. And I am proud of myself, even though I'm like kind of mad that I got involved in the first place. But yeah, I don't know. I'm like done really well for myself. Like, I am not perfect. I have still so many things I have to work on, you know. But yeah. I've done a really good job raising myself. And yeah, I mean, older men, you know, my long-term relationships have been with men who are like a little bit younger, which is kind of weird. I think that will change in my 40s. Yeah, I do think women should focus on making money and not men. Exactly. But I don't mind admitting that, yeah, I your girl does not want to be single for eternity. But if I have to, I will. Yeah, I agree. And that's the thing. Like, if you just don't give any time of day to men who are indecisive or who cause you confusion, or like I don't let anyone to come in and just poke me with a stick. Like you don't get that. You got to be out here doing something awesome that like catches my eye. Like there's some guys I found who are like really amazing writers and stuff like that online, or like doing something that catches my eye. You're not just some dude. And I get so many messages like that that really get me, get on my nerves. Next guy's like, hey, Adelle, how are you? Like, I really understand your feelings. And I'm like, please go away. Like, it makes me so angry, actually. Like, I'm not giving you some free dopamine for your little tink tink message. Like, you got to be doing something interesting. Otherwise, go away. Otherwise, it would be like a full or a part-time job to field all the men that want to go, hey, 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 can you give me some attention, please? Okay. Oh, well, thank you for that affirmation. I appreciate it. I do always pull myself forwards and upwards. It's true. Like, I have some crazy stories that y'all wouldn't even believe. Like, you know what that reminded me of? Like, everything is reminding me of everything lately. Like, all of these like memories keep flashing back to me, amazing memories from my life. For example, yesterday, somebody asked me like, oh, you're from Canada, do you know how to snowboard? And I was like, yeah. And then they were like, oh, how much does it cost? And then I was like, oh. And so then like I started thinking back to like, wait a minute, how do I know how to snowboard? Like I kind of forgot. And like, how long ago was it that I went snowboarding, and how come I don't know how much it costs? And I'm like, oh yeah, when I was in college, I had a really athletic and cool boyfriend. He was like the, captain of some wildfire crew and everything else, and a really smart guy. He and I were winning a lot of scholarships and everything else. And yeah, he was like athletic in many ways, and he took me snowboarding, and he would teach me, and I'd be snowboarding and he'd be in front of me backwards, like holding me and like helping me. And I'm like, oh. Like I have had many amazing moments like that in my life. That's so sweet and amazing. Like he turned out to be, it ended, and it was very good that it ended. But like I've had so many great experiences in my life, and when you talk about moving myself upwards and everything else, like that brought up a memory for me. And this is like the craziest thing. And by the way, I come on here and I share these little snippets of stories from my life. I have a trillion of these. I have a trillion crazy, weird little stories in my life. And I have like a bunch of books that I'm going to be publishing and stuff soon, because I really hope they can help people. That's what got me through, was books and stories and fantasies in my mind. Many of the fantasies I had in my mind came true. A man that wasn't decent, but you weren't ready for a commitment. That's so funny, because like I was literally thinking about that the other day. I was like, have I met a good man who I regret and who like I turned away when I shouldn't have? And the answer was no. But there was one that came to my mind. There was one that came to my mind, but still the answer was no. He gave me the ick, and he had some other little problems. But when I can't even talk about it. I feel bad because I broke up with him, but like I just knew, things hadn't gotten to a certain point, and I just knew it wasn't going to get to that point. Even though I like was really amazed by him. He lived in the mountains when I lived out there, and there were times when I would call him and he would be like playing the piano, just like this virtuoso, just gorgeous music. He could play like any instrument beautifully. He was too young as well. And he had like a really good job, and he had a lot of money saved, and he was like really, really into me. And he was like, you want to go watch a meteor shower and go for dinner? Like he would, like I had such a miracle, like amazing life, What was wrong with him? Look, okay. Okay, it was, look at you guys getting these stories out of me? Okay, so and by the way, I have all of like I'm writing this book about my life when I was living in the mountains because it was so romantic and insane and like filled with money and magic and miracles and cool people and romance. That's coming out soon, actually. But what was wrong with him? Okay, that's not in the book, so I'll tell you. First of all, I just now y'all making me feel bad. And you know the thing is that like when I called to break up with him, he got choked up and hung up the phone, and I was like, okay. And, like I made this dude cry. I felt kind of bad, but like not really. I don't know. I honestly think that okay, no, I'm not going to be rude, but anyway, so he was, you know, there were times when I would call him and he'd be just like casually, he'd like, hey, I like talking, and he's like, do you mind if I keep playing? I'm like, sure, it's beautiful. But yeah, there's other times that he's like, yeah, I was just talking to my ex-girlfriend from high school, and oh, she's having some problem with her boyfriend and blah blah. And I'm like, it just I can't even tell you what this does to me. This shrivels up everything inside of me, and I just think, oh, what a loser. And he has me. He has access to me. And he's sitting here chit-chatting with some chick from his high school, using up his energy and giving me, putting her drama onto me. So, like, that's, like, a huge thinker. Like, men who don't know how to have boundaries with women, it's so unattractive to me. That will give me the ick alone. And I don't know if there are guys who have tried to make me jealous in the past. There was this one guy who was supposed to meet up with me, and like I really liked him, and he's like, oh, I just ran into my friend, she's a nurse and she's gonna cook me dinner later. And I could tell he was just trying to make me jealous. I'm like, oh, that sounds great, I think you should go. I'm like, yeah, I would like nurses too if I were a guy. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, like I think you should go for dinner. You can just go tonight, don't worry about it. Block. And then he ended up going, hey, like I just want to tell you, I'm really sorry, like I don't know what I blah, blah. I'm like, I don't play games with people. I'm not doing this. So yeah, and like I'll be kind of like annoyed like that in the moment, but then literally 6 seconds later I'm like, oh, and I'm like I'm off onto something else really. And so anyway, that guy that in the mountains, okay, so the funny thing is that he was like telling me, he's like, oh, my brother's gonna love you. And like, you know what's funny is that I looked at his brother, and his brother was more my type. His brother was older because he was like younger. He was like maybe like 8 years younger or something. It was like too young for me. And also he ended up marrying the next girl that he got with. And I did not like her. So I was like, oh, yeah, I think that's maybe more on his level. And also, I didn't tell you the main thing that he did. The main thing that he did was one night, he and I were out. You know, we'd do like some nice, like, mountain romance dates, you know, enjoying nature. And it probably was even that night when we were looking at I hope to God he's not watching this. Like, people, like, that's the thing about YouTube, is like people, anyway. So yeah, we were like, watching the stars, whatever. And we were like leaning it up against my SUV. Like I was leaning here and he was like leaning there, and we were just like talking, whatever. And we heard this noise. And it came like from over on his side, and it sounded like something big. And so it could have been a bear, it could have been a moose, we don't actually know. And we were like, we got kind of spooked. And in that moment, I could see he looked kind of scared. And then, so we kind of regrouped for a moment. And then he started like picking up his story again. And where he was like talking, what he was talking about. And I noticed it because I'm so observant of how people speak and the way they hold themselves, because like I have to learn that for YouTube. I also had to learn that for social reasons because like it didn't come to me naturally. So I'm really observant of people's body language and the way they talk and when things change. So after we had that little bit of a bear scare, we didn't know if something was there. I noticed that he changed. He went and he's like, okay, so picture this. And he went like in front of me and like did something to like talk about his story. And he's like, can you believe that? And then he like came back. And this time he went on the opposite side of me. So he tried to make it seem like, oh, I'm going to talk about something. Oh, now I'm going to come back and stand here. And he was like on the opposite side of me, away from where we heard the noise. Are you kidding me? And I flat out called him out on that. I was like, oh, are you trying to make sure that the bear gets me first? Oh, no, 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 no. And I'm like, yeah. It was just like like a little moment, but I'm just like, that one thing right there, like the ingenuity of it, is that the word? Like the lying of it and the action of it and the simple thing that he could have been like, he didn't have to play this game and do this little thing. He could have said, could have been a man and just said, oh, like, well, it might not be anything, but it might, like, let's go over here instead and I'll keep it, like, you know what I mean? No, we're going to play this little tricky game and try to put, like, what? And that's my problem, I have dated many cowardly men who had other really great traits, amazing traits, but they were cowards socially and in other ways too. So that's one thing I will never call myself. How old was he at the time? He was like 29 or 28. But this is like not a small dude, he may be like 6'2". He got some lean muscles. He was a drummer as well. He's not skinny. Well, actually he was skinny. He was skinny-ish, but like, there's no excuse for age. I think at the time I was like 34, 30. I literally cannot remember 30. This is why I write things down. This is why I write books and stuff, because I have so many things that happen in my life that I could forget about them, especially here in Mexico. Stuff happens every single day. But yeah, so he was the only one who kind of like came to my mind when I was like, was there anyone who got through the cracks? But I mean, that little thing is enough. And then the girl on the phone and all this other shit. Like, I just, I'm not playing that game. I am interested in, like, you can create a universe with somebody where you both kind of exist in it. Why would I, modern men are like that, unfortunately, it's true. Why would I want to try to create this, like, whirlwind, beautiful universe with a man who's going to be like bringing some like dramatic women in to talk to me and disturb my stress? And that's one thing that I realized in my previous relationships is that rotten or low grade or whatever people who would not normally have access to me had access to me through the men that I dated, and they had the potential to like do bad things to me through these men. These were men who not only wouldn't protect me, but they actively brought people in who would, have a negative effect on me. So that was what I learned in that marriage. That was the thing that I needed to learn. And gosh, did it ever hurt. It hurt to have to learn that I do not know how to protect myself. I was sitting there saying, like, why won't this man stand up for me? Why won't this man have any interest in protecting me? When is he going to see that this is hurting me? No, he just wants to make a YouTube video. Okay. And then I finally realized, like, oh, the person who needs to see that is me. I need to see that I'm hurting myself. I need to get myself out of this situation. And I need to protect myself. And this was a lesson that I had to learn over and over again. once I came to Mexico. So it was like that was like a big thing that leveled me up in preparation for Mexico. And then in Mexico, I had many, many experiences that kind of healed that side for me. You know, I had that amazing, the one of the hottest men I've ever met in my life, that martial arts teacher. And he was in his 50s. Well, this guy's married and has multiple children. But like having someone like that who's got your back, having someone like that who, you know, tells you like, you can't hurt me. You know what I mean? It's just like a strong, confident, like strong and confident are like, these words don't even apply to this man. Like those are like descriptors. This is just like who he was, you know? And I remember trying to do an Irish goodbye. They had a potluck. I protect myself. What will you do in your older years if you're single? The same thing I'm doing now. Write books, work on beauty, work on beautifying my environment, sharing love with people, animals, children, followers, people who read my books. It might be the case for me. I would prefer not to, but I don't mind. I don't mind. I've had some really amazing, great romantic experiences in my life. I've had some really great relationships with men. You know, even, you know, all of the exes I had, like, they did so much for me. And they really cared about me when they really cared about me. And I was spoiled many, many times. You know, many, many times over. So, yeah, I think there's definitely a great deal of room for improvement. And I don't think any of that was, you know, I don't think any of the love that we get here on earth is like real love. We get little glimpses of it, you know. On earth, it applies to, you know, attachments and restrictions and conditions. So, yeah, if we just get a little hint of that from time to time, that's a blessing. I was really talking about something I was super interested in right before I got sidetracked with that. What was it? I can't remember. No, I keep changing my mind about moving. I keep changing my mind. So I'm waiting for the right thing. Thank you. A white guy by first. Okay. I have a feeling I'm not going to like this comment when I read it later. Might have to refund you your money. I don't want to hear about your racial preferences and fetishes. Somebody read that comment and tell me if it was appropriate or not, please. Oh, no. But that was my first super thanks of the year. So thanks. I've got my links in the top link. Oh, by the way, yeah, I've got my link into my books in my top links here in my chat. If you want to know why stuff like that gets on my nerves, go check out my book, I Thought I Was White. Because I did. I didn't think of myself racially when I was a kid. I felt that if I didn't think of myself racially, I could just, I didn't even think about it. You know, people say like, oh, like I'm colorblind. Like I was colorblind. And many people tell you, if you're just colorblind, then, yeah, like people just, you know, you can just be colorblind in the world. But then I eventually realized, oh, it doesn't work like that. But I don't let other people's reality define me. Yes, I understand you didn't mean any disrespect. Thank you very much. The other people are going to attack you in the comments. Well, we can all kind of learn something from this. We can kind of learn something from this. How would people like it if I said, "Hey, I just want you to know that I like white guys. Do you want to go on a date?" You'd be like, "What the fuck? What does she mean by that?" It's weird. Some people think they need a qualifier. They need to like defend or justify themselves why they like somebody. You don't have to do that. You don't have to make it weird. And be like, "Hey, I think you have a nice taste in plastic jugs and plants, and therefore I'm interested in you." Yeah, just show genuine interest. That's right. If you're, and you got to look at yourself. Are you having some kind of weird, thank you. Right? Because unfortunately, the world we lived in has turned women into categories on sickening websites based on their skin color. So when a man approaches you like that, that's kind of how it feels. And that's the great thing. We can have these conversations and we can learn. We can learn. Right? That's where empathy comes from. How would I feel if someone came up to me and said, "Hey, white boy, I like white guys. Can we go out?" You'd be like, "What?" It's weird. And that's okay. Let's all improve ourselves socially, because like we're all getting weird from isolation and the internet and everything else. Like I've had some people who are like in Mexico now. They're like, "Hey, you want to meet up?" And I'm like, I have somebody coming this week for my retreat. I have like work to do, but I like making a million excuses. The truth is I'm kind of like a homebody. And I'm like so sensitive with people who I let into my energy and my world lately. Yeah. So I don't know how to respond to things sometimes. And it's okay to be like, "Hey, I'm like going through like a weird time in my life and I'm not sure how to respond to that. I would like some connection. I would like to meet up and socialize, but I don't know how this is going to go for me. Is that strange for you? Are you feeling the same way? Like, can we talk about something?" Um, Modern women, yeah, we're more demanding, because we're not just asking for the bare minimum plus worse. Men didn't have to have empathy, have social skills, whatever in the past. It was kind of like this. It was kind of like this. It's just kind of like, "Hey, love from, hey, Valerie, nice to see you. How are things doing?" Valerie has all of my documents. Well, not documents, but like some, what would you call them? Keepsakes that I could not bring with me to Mexico. Thank you, Valerie. Oh gosh, what was I saying? Good to see you. Thank you so much that nobody has written anything in the chat in reference to Hallmark greeting card holidays. Thank you. It makes me so happy. Y'all are very special. Look, even the dogs of Mexico salute you. This is the second time I was talking about something and I got sidetracked. So I can't remember. Where's Maurice? Oh, she's kind of over there. She's looking so cute lately. Oh, there's a lady outside walking a dog. That's what set them off. But yeah, I do not know where I'm going to go next. I am going to move from here in 2 months. This house, though, it's so gorgeous. Like, I can go and touch a tree. I can go, see this tree right here? I can go and pick a flower and a fruit off of this tree and touch the leaves. And then the sun, but these dogs have ruined it. It is perfect weather. Actually, it's a little bit hot, to be honest. It's a little bit hot for me. Yeah, so I was talking about, socially, what's happening for a lot of people, myself included. Everyone who calls me, my coaching calls, every single person, married, single, whatever. Oh yeah, you're asking about if women are more demanding. Oh my God, that dog. Yeah, I think women, we are more demanding. I wouldn't say demanding, because I'm not demanding this from anyone. I'm just saying no. I'm just saying no to what's on offer. If all you got is, hey, can you give me some attention? And you just get blocked. It needs to be something a bit better than that. Right? Like this kind person who sent a gift. But yeah, come up with something. Hey, I was watching this video and you mentioned this. And, I know somebody who blah, 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 like, whatever. Can hook you up with that, or, like just something. And it's unfortunate, because that's the nature of these digital connections. They are like so easy that people, just take some things for granted. And we're all real people, right? Going through things. We all incarnated on this planet at the same time. Do you guys have... Oh man, I'm thinking about the cold in Canada now. I'm thinking about all of y'all's different experiences and the weather right now. I'm thinking about all the people who clicked like on this video and are going to be blessed today. What's the most expat community like in Mexico? I'm making a video about that. My experience so far has been extremely poor. I would say there are 3 main categories. Fat old retirees who have money and want to go golfing and boss Mexican people around all day. Then you have the weird woke people who make excuses for every possibly bad thing that happens in this country. Then you have the yoga partiers. You have the yoga people, the ones who are like, I'm the tantric goddess queen, and you could come to my retreat for $6,000. And she got the nose ring and the dreadlocks. That's how you know it's legitimate. And then you also have got the partiers. So you have the crazy partiers. You got the yoga people with the nose rings. You got the fat old retirees, absolutely miserable people. If they see someone like me, I've had so many bad experiences with them. They're like, how do you make money? What are you doing here? I have met digital nomads here. It has been bad. Let me just tell you that. I have been so excited because when I first came here, I was like, those are going to be my people, the digital nomads who came to Canada, who came to Mexico. And there was one of them who I was so certain that he and I were going to do something together. We're going to start a YouTube, something, whatever. He's a really talented, smart, responsible guy. He helped me hook up with the girl who got me my green card. But there was something a little bit sketchy about him. I don't know if he's watching now. There's something a little bit sketchy about him. And he would also, we'd be talking and he would turn on me on a dime. He had a bit of a temper. He was like, why would you say that? Or he's like, what do you mean by that? Well, actually, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, whoa. Like, nobody needs to talk to me like that. I can guarantee you that. So, yeah, I just did what I do and I blocked him. I blocked him. If you don't have that much impulse control of your temper for somebody like me, who's like totally chill, and you could have been like, well, you know what I mean? Like, of course, like when you're interacting with people, you're going to make mistakes. Like, I'm trying to think what I said to him that got him upset. I think it was like some kind of like, I think it was like some spiritual thing. Like, we were talking about the state of the world or something like that. A bunch of outliers and weirdos. Yeah, I have met them. There's like, honestly, I've met a number of them here. And there's always something. It's always something. You know, one of them was this guy. Oh gosh, I can think of so many. And it's always something. Like a lot of people here are on the word that rhymes with rugs and starts with the letter D. A lot of people here, they're looking to, scam somebody. I think the ones who are like legit, like me, we kind of just isolate ourselves. And the truth is, like, I have gotten some emails from people who are like inviting me to certain communities and stuff like that. I'm going to be checking out. And in my mind, I'm like, girl, every time you've made a move to try to meet new people or get in new situations, it's just gone badly. Like, that's why I ended up leaving the Crow's Nest Pass. I was making all that money on YouTube. I was living in the mountains, and I'm like, and I broke up with that guy, and then I broke up with another guy. And I was like, I'm just going to be this weird little hermit living in the mountains if I don't go to Calgary. So I went to Calgary and I started doing a ton of stuff, a ton of events. I went on a lot of dates in Calgary. Oh my gosh. I had a lot of fun. But yeah, it was like ultimately not worth it. I got a normal job. I was like, hey, a person like me who has no family doesn't need to be working at home alone all the time. They need to have a normal job, to be around people and working on something together. Well, as I talked about in my other video, they knew that I lived alone, that I have no family, that I have a heart condition, that I never miss a day. And I worked there for 4 days. One day, I didn't show up. I just didn't show up, which is not like me at all. It's simply the world we live in. Yep. Yes. And so I didn't show up at all, didn't call, nothing. And then when I just came to work the day after that, I think I just found out. I was like, oh, I was supposed to work yesterday? Or I was literally a week later that I realized that I had just no-showed on work. And I was like, why didn't anyone think to call me or anything? Oh, well, we didn't, they were just literally well, we didn't really give a fuck, or we didn't nothing. And I was like, oh my God. And that's when I realized, I don't know. You can't go looking for family in late stage capitalism work environments. So anyway, this has been a good chat. I think they're probably going to shut up when whoever's walked past has left, but I might just have to go. It's getting hot out here too. So anyway, I figured out many, many things in my life, but this is the one thing I haven't quite figured out yet, and I'm working on it. And I've accepted that it's probably going to look different for me than other people, and I'm okay with that. I love it. Thanks for the hugs. Hugs back. Thanks so much for watching, guys. And yeah, I have so many new cool things coming out soon. Thanks for the super thanks. Appreciate that. Thanks to any of you who are picking up my products still. I'm just feel so lucky for that. People who click like on my videos, people who watch my stuff. I got more coming out. I have so much content, so many ways I can help people. And so do you. And I hope many of you will start making videos and start writing in the new year. That is definitely your calling if you found yourself on my channel multiple times. All right. Take care. Am I sure that I want to stop streaming?